Hey, yo, what is up, guys? Your boy Ed from Floowandereeze. You already know. For today's video, it's a very special video because my friend Austin sent me this deck profile that he made for us, for the channel. Very thankful for that. And it's a video of his Floowandereeze top 16 forward regional deck profile that he just did. He went to the forward regional that happened last weekend, which, congratulations. He did really well. He got top 16. He told me that there was a little bit of a mix-up with some judge rulings or whatever. If not, he would have done better. But nevertheless, he did really good. He got top 16, and I'm super proud of him. He also recorded this video himself at home and sent it to me because we just couldn't meet up because of the holidays and whatnot, right? So I'm very, very thankful. Thank you, Austin, for doing this video for us and sending it out to the channel. I'm very, very, very excited for this. Hopefully you guys enjoy Floowandereeze. One of the best decks for sure. Let's go ahead and check it out. Before we continue with today's video, make sure you guys go check out my sponsors from Dank Rituals. They have some of the coolest product out in the market today. They have anything from deck boxes to play mats, oversleeves, even dice. They're working on this really dope backpack that I'm super excited about. Make sure you guys check them out. The link will be down in the description. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to do a deck profile. So this is my Floowandereeze deck. I played this at the Fort Worth Regional like last weekend, I guess it was. Technically, I was undefeated. My only two losses were to two judge calls, one of which was regarding whether or not my opponent's intent to go to battle phase in time was acceptable or not. Both the judge and assistant head judge ruled that my opponent was allowed to go to the battle phase, even though what he did was normal summon battle phase attack, and I hadn't even finished resolving effects yet. But for some reason they allowed him to do that, and then I gave my opponent the choice to decide to do the right thing or to just, take the free win that the judges are going to allow him. I mean, I would have too. If the judges said I can cheat, well then I would have done it. But that was the only loss there. And then the final round, I dodged Flu all day. Then we got repaired, and I had to play Flu. It was 1-1, and then time was called inciting, and the judge who was right next to us said that there was the one phase, that the player who started the game got a single phase, and then the game would be decided. Seeing as how both of us were playing the only deck in the format that has a quick play way to gain life, and then he opened two of them, I lost that game simply because it was mishandled. And then that judge quickly took my match slip before I had a chance to dispute it, and then immediately came back and told me that his ruling was wrong. And then at the exact same time, the assistant head judge, who had ruled incorrectly earlier in the day, also came up and said his ruling was wrong too. So I looked at them both and I said, so you're telling me the only reason I have any losses and my entire tournament is screwed is because you two, the judges, made mistakes? And they both just said, yep, I guess so. So I've since emailed Konami and let them know about all this stuff, so hopefully something will be done there. But it is ridiculous that there's no recourse for bad judges. And that the players have to suffer because of it. Either way, I didn't actually lose any match all day long. I was 6-0 by round 6. I made 13th place. I'm confident that I could have won the event. Either way, pretty solid 7-2, with two judge losses. So not too terrible. I feel like I did pretty good. So we'll get into the deck now. First.
Alright guys, before we wrap up today's video, don't forget about our newest giveaway. This giveaway is for 2,400 subs. The video where you have to go comment, I want the Dark Magician Girl playmat, will be down in the description. Make sure you guys go comment on that video, and you have to be sub to this channel in order to enter this giveaway. Make sure you guys go do it. You guys can go ahead and win yourselves this Dark Magician Girl playmat.
The three, I guess, best cards in the deck. Shifter. I mean, you see this, most people will scoop. Then the actual best card in the deck, the reason that you have to run infinite pot cards and stuff to dig, is this guy, Robin. He's cute. He searches little birds. And then you run 3 Eaglin, who searches big birds. They're buddies. Then you have the goofy brother of the other birds who just sticks around because they have to have him. And then the insanely underrated bro, that would be Talkin'. He likes to grab stuff back from Banish. He's pretty insane. If I was going to run another copy of any of these birds, it would probably be this guy. I don't know how good that is. So those are the main birds in the best card. Then for support, to kind of lock your opponent down, I'm on 2 Barrier Statue. I feel like this is objectively correct. 1's fine, that usually does the trick, but when the second one comes down, especially after you watch your opponent breathe a sigh of relief that they've outed the first one, and then you drop the second one, they usually just flip out and lose. It also kind of unnerves your opponent, so they just don't know what to do, and then you're in a winning position because they're flustered. Then we have the big birds. Apex, who I used to not like, but now I'm in love with this guy. He lets you just keep on grinding because you put him back with wins, and then Eaglin continues to have value to just grab it back. Also with wins, you can just tribute your opponent's stuff and then negate, bounce it back, tribute their stuff again, and it's just so much advantage. You have the Ryza, who is kind of your big bad. Like, it sucks that you can only really play 1. You could try 2, but it'll probably get really clunky. You have to kind of figure out if you want to bounce him or if you want to get more stuff off the field. Like, it's really good. It helps out problematic cards, and it also lets you repeatedly stack stuff like D-Shifter or Featherstorm. Whatever card kills your opponent, if it's in your graveyard, you can just stick it back on top of your deck and continue to kill your opponent with it. So it's kind of nutty for that reason. And then Impin, the big penguin boy himself. This guy is crazy. If he's in attack mode, or well, no, if he's up on the field and your opponent special summons anything in attack mode, they just can't activate the effects. 2 is really good because you definitely want to see it. You don't mind opening this guy because, you know, if you just open this and a bad bird and wins, you're in there. And that'll let your entire gameplay. He's also really good because he can stop himself from being killed. You got to be over 5,400 attack to kill him. And every battle you can just banish a card from hand to stop your opponent from being able to kill him, basically. And you don't care if you banish stuff because you just grab it back with Mr. Talkin. It's also nuts because it lets you normal summon, and it doesn't have to be a level 1 bird or anything after the effect resolves. So if you have wins, you just tribute their stuff, summon this guy, get some more stuff, summon again, and then tribute more of their stuff, summon a second one. And these 2 together make it really, really easy to get to, like, I think it's 8,200 damage if you just summon these 2 and this, or these 2 and this guy. And it's really not hard to do, especially if you're eating off all of your opponent's cards with wins. Now we have the spells. Of course, terraforming, because that's the 4th copy of the map, which is just nuts. Map just lets you banish something in hand, which gives you immediate chain block to stop your opponent from being able to, like, halfness or something. This plus Talkin is a 2-card combo that also is like full combo. Then you have wins that I keep talking about. This card's crazy. Like, it seems like you want to run multiples, but it is kind of clunky. I do side a 2nd copy for the mirror match because whoever gets this first in the mirror usually wins. And then we have the things that you have to run because this deck is so inherently inconsistent that if you don't run these, you won't play the game. My friend Miles, the Drytron god, Miles Valentino, told me that the problem with this deck is it has 3 good cards, and it's so inconsistent naturally that you have to run 6 pots just to try and play the game, and sometimes you still don't. And that's absolutely correct, which makes this a weird choice for long tournaments, but currently I think it's probably the best choice. It just eats tier alive, and most other decks aren't prepared enough for it. Then we have 3 of the Advent, because this can become any bird as long as you have a bird already. It can also become map, which is really nuts. And it effectively performs the same task as any of the other main birds. It'll search a big bird if you need it, it'll search a small bird if you need it. And being able to have 4 copies of terraforming for this thing is really crazy. Plus, of course, you can gain 500 life points in a pinch and make your opponent freak the hell out because it's time. And then the absolute MVP of the whole freaking tournament, Enemy Controller. This card is absolutely bonkers in this deck. You can dodge Imperm with this the same way you can dodge Imperm with this. And going second against tier, you can just snatch up maybe their only tier card, which then renders whatever spell or traps they might have totally useless. This will help you go for OTKs. Also, you can do cute stuff like wait for them to bring out a Dragostapelia or something while you have Impin, and then just switch it to attack mode, or maybe before you have an Impin, you can just switch it to attack mode. That way when you slap the Impin, they can't activate their effect. The other thing this is really good about doing is addressing Baguska. That card is the bane of this deck's existence, and basically everyone's going to make it. They see a shifter, they're making Baguska. So this will either take it and let you smack them with it and make your own Zeus, or just put it in attack mode so it's not a threat anymore. This card is also a very, very easy side out because the deck doesn't really miss it too much, and especially when you can put stuff in like I have in the side deck that you'll see in a second. But this card is absolutely crazy. I was running 2. Everybody and their mother was telling me, you gotta run 3, you gotta run 3, and I'm like, no, that's way too many. My buddy James Conacher was like, you have to run 3 of these, and I was like, I don't know. And then I talked to Zachary Rodriguez, who's another really good Houston player, and Michael Temez, the bird god himself. They all swear by 3 copies of this. So I tested it and then took it to the regional, and it was absolutely insane. They were all correct. Also, before this regional, I got some coaching from Zach Rodriguez, and he definitely told me some really, really cool stuff that was really, really interesting and good to know. I think he ended up playing a build close to Dominic Couch's build, where he was running like 5 tribute monsters and stuff. Zach didn't do that, but he was running the effect veilers and stuff, which I didn't really like because it conflicts with D-Shifter and whatnot, and I think he was siding Nib too, which I also don't like because part of the advantage of this deck is that you play on your opponent's turn. And if on your opponent's turn all you can do is Nib them, well, that Nib better win you the whole game, otherwise they're just going to kill you. So I opted not to do the Nib, and you'll see the side in a second. Last card of the deck, the obligatory Dreaming Town. This card is just nuts. It's a book for your opponent's whole field, craps on Kashtira, keeps sprites from building too much stuff. When your opponent's trying to run into your barrier statue, this books all their stuff. Oh, that's another thing this does. This protects the barrier, which is godly. I'll do these out of order. The other 3 cards that Zach suggested and that a lot of people were starting to get on is Infinite Impermanence. This took the spot of Dark Ruler no more. Dark Ruler is good because it's kind of a blanket, but this can answer Kit, and it seems kind of like, but when you imperm a Kit, I have seen so many people just pass right after that. It is crazy how much this can do, and it also helps break boards whenever you're playing on your turn. If it's your 6th card, you can still play it, and if you can get to it, you can kill them after you play this, whereas with Dark Ruler you can't. And if birds can kill you and they have the opportunity, they need to go ahead and do it, because at any time things could go horribly wrong because it's birds. But Imperm is nuts. Also an easy side out, but I don't know how often I sided it out. Then we have 2 evenly matched. This makes 40 cards. The reason there's not 3 of them in here is because I will not run 41 cards. If you're running birds and you have over 40 cards in your deck, it is an incorrect build, and you should definitely be losing every game. Because the purpose of running 40 is because you have to get to your birds. If you don't see the birds, if you don't see the shifter, then the deck is really fair. It's really easy to beat. If you get to see your unfair cards, well, they're unfair, and you're probably going to win because of them. So it was not worth running a 3rd one of these to go to 41, simply because that would mess up the ratios. And it's negligible, because 41 and 40, like the difference between those, like probabilistically, is like not that big of a difference. But when you want to open like a specific set of cards, especially like in this deck, it's just so sensitive. If you don't see them, you're probably not going to be able to play. And on top of that, I saw this thing all the time. It was insane. I lost all die rolls but 1 in the regional, and I saw this, I would say, 8 out of 10 times that I was forced to go second. So then we'll move to the side deck. So that's the 40 main deck, clean cut. We have the 3rd evenly. I know it's weird, just 1 on the side, I know, but it was amazing. The siding was so easy in this deck, and I was having a huge issue with that before I built this version. It's usually about 6 cards just in and out, and I can go over that at the end. 3rd evenly was necessary going second. You got to. Before this, I was playing a go in second build with like 3 of these in the main, 3 Dark Ruler, and like 3 Raigeki, which was nice, but by giving up your ability to go first, you put yourself in a pickle if you don't see any of those, and you can lose. The second wins. This is for pretty much only the Floowandereeze. I will very rarely side this in against anything else, unless, game 1 or whatever, it just so happened to be the thing that is the reason that I won, and it was, unstoppable. Then we have Pink VFD. This card's nuts. VFD is one of my favorite cards, and the fact that this exists and literally does the same thing, and I can play it in here, is the reason that you have to play it. Like, this card is nuts. If you happen to side this in at the same time as Feather Duster and they try and pop this, you just get a Feather Duster out of it. It's just, there's nothing bad about this card. Except when you summon Robin and they stop you there, and then you set this, because that's a water bird, and this requires a wind bird. Yeah, don't do that. Double Raigeki and double Lightning Storm, because I am in love with this card right now. It craps on Kashtira, it craps on so many different decks. I even like it against Tier sometimes, because if they've used a bunch of their effects already, then this will just cut them off. If they've used Rokalos and they've used Kaleido, well, they're just not getting them back, period, now. Or you can use this to make it the reason that the next time you out it, it's just outed. I'm not often putting this in against Tier, but it's super nuts against basically every rogue deck or everything that's not tier. This is extra back row removal to go along with the Feather Duster, but it kind of doubles as another Raigeki. And then we have the 2 Cosmics. I wanted to run 3, but I have other things in here that kind of take that spot because you lose to Zombie World. You don't really care about Tikaboo. Skill Drain is super painful, but if you see Winds, and I guess that would be another scenario when I'd side in Winds, is if I saw a Skill Drain or something. You can Winds, Tribute Set, get rid of Skill Drain, get rid of Tikaboo. Those are not issues at all. You do not care about those. And everyone thinks that you do, so they all side them and play them, and it's like, I don't care about those cards. I can beat you if you have them. But if you drop a Zombie World on me, I have to see these cards. If I don't see these unsearchable cards, I am dead. Like, Zombie World is what kills this deck. And still, at the regional, people were playing like 1 Zombie World, 1 Banshee. You're out the 1 Zombie World, you can't win the game now. Sorry, buddy. Like, everyone should be on 3 and at least 2. Like 3 Zombie World for sure and 2. Especially if you're playing tier, because that's how you beat this deck. And then also, because tier, this kind of acts like another Cosmic to out Zombie World, and it gives you more access to Necro Valley. I didn't like Necro Valley because my logic was you have a field spell that is already so insane, you want to keep it up. If you have this, it's just a subpar field spell as far as the deck is concerned. However, in practice, I dropped this on a couple tier players, and the fact that I had this meant that I could pass on nothing for like 3 turns. I watched a guy, with all I had was Necro Valley, I watched a guy sit on Baguska till it died out completely from having no materials, and then still pass 3 more turns in a row just drawing cards and passing because I had only this on the field. I had garbage in my hand, but then I finally drew out of it. That was nuts. So I officially, because of that situation, love this card. And even at locals last night, or night before last, I dropped this on a tier player, and as soon as I laid it down, he scooped his cards, which I didn't understand that, but and that was literally all I had in my hand was dog crap besides that. Necro Valley's nuts. You got to play that card. The sighting patterns are kind of weird. I didn't know how to fit this in, but when I was talking with Zach, he mentioned that you can really just pull out a map, and you could possibly pull Terraforming. You don't really want to, but you can easily pull a map, and that kind of becomes the map. I'm not sure if it's worth going over like specific sighting patterns, but as far as the wiggle room goes, stuff in the main deck, obviously if you're going first, you can pull this stuff. You can pull these. You can pull these. They're just wiggle room. If you're in a weird bind and you don't know what to pull, 1 Pot of Duality is sometimes flexible. I will almost never side this out. Some people do. I will almost never. 1 of the map can be sided out in the event of siding in the Necro Valleys, but in no other circumstance are you going to side that card out. Going second, sometimes I'll side out the Apex, but it's been so much lately that like I miss it going second. It gives you such a good grind, and it's just a nice other target. Like, the card is just nuts. It's better going first, but it's still just a crazy card. But if you need to, you can side it out going second. Also going second, you only keep 1 barrier statue, no matter what. As soon as you go second, like one of the first cards you pull. You never side out any birds. You only side out D-Shifter in matchups where it doesn't do anything, or your opponent's playing D-Shifter. You just don't need it, and that's a free 3 slots. This is really good going second. It's also fine going first, but this is pretty much the first side out target. It's because the deck doesn't need it. It's just an extra surprise of like, holy crap, how do I deal with this enemy controller now? The deck side's very, very smooth. I mean, just generically speaking, if you're going second, just slap this in, slap those in, and these in. Easy 6, no problem. If you're extra scared, you need the Cosmics. Going first, you do these. You can also justify leaving these guys in. Depending on the matchup, possibly this. But it's just, it's very, very neat the way it, like the side deck comes in and out of the main deck. Video's getting kind of long, so I'm going to rush through these pretty quick. The extra deck now actually matters in Flu. It does stuff on purpose. So you have your Link 1 anima. I don't run Link Rebo because every time I made it, I just got my ass beat right after that. So this actually does stuff. Link Rebo is like a, I'm going to lose the game, let me just do a thing. There's no point in that. I'd rather scoop. So this is a dark also, which allows you to make dark. And this was explained to me by Michael Temez, the bird god. You can make this, go into dark, and then go into gigantic, bringing back, you know, whatever of theirs, or if you need to make elf, you can use these guys to get into a gigantic at 32, which runs over something like a Dragostapelia, and then you can slap a Downard, slap a Zeus, and that's kind of nuts. That helps you get out of situations like Zombie World. Other scenarios where you're locked down by something, or you just need to out something. It's really, really nasty. So these guys kind of work in concert. You're not ever really doing sprite stuff. And this only really works if you have like map and birds in hand, because you can use map to get a free normal summon and not activate any effects or add anything back from banish, and then just normal summon again for turn, no effects, no adding back from banish. Then you can overlay those two into this to out stuff. I never make it, but in theory it can out things like I guess Zombie World. This is what you usually make. I am in love with this card. I've loved it since Drytron. It's just crazy. You play it, you can't die, they can't kill it. It's just so good. That Kikinagashi fucko guy, screw that card. That card is dog shit. This one though, this can win you games, this can save you games. Like it's so good. You slap that sucker and then do this stuff, like what is your opponent gonna do? It's just really, really, really good. And in fact, it can attack directly. Like if you're going down to time, okay, cool. Just punch for like 800 and pass. And then on your opponent's turn, detach material, you take no damage. What are they going to do when it's close to time? You can keep poking for free, and they can't touch you. It's nasty. Additionally, I'm running a second Zeus, because Zeus is arguably the most important extra deck card in here. It's an easy like first prosperity banish, but just in case you like really need it for a matchup, a second one is there. It could be whatever you want it to be, but I like a second Zeus. This never really comes up, but it can. If they're playing Baron, I won't banish this right off the bat with a pot. Phoenix is the same purpose as the, what's that thing called? The other little Lairlusk. It just helps, you know, out problematic spells and traps, but I also don't ever make this. Unicorn, another just generic, decent link monster. This in the dark kind of help you climb a little bit. I'm not running Farigite because it literally never comes up. I guess it could, in theory. I opted for something else instead of that. I like Selene in here because you have like almost only spells. If you can climb up to this, well, why not just go ahead and go straight on into the access code and then just kill them all at once? So this just makes it very easy. This can bring back Shifter. It can bring back either of the two Charmer spellcasters. I think, does it have to be in defense mode? Okay, it does have to be in defense mode, so you can't bring back a Charmer, but you can use a Charmer to make it because they're spellcasters. And then I chose the Goddess because I think I'd rather have it not need it than need it not have it, because if you come up against a deck where like, you know, like AI or something, and that they're just going to make a towers, you're probably not going to do anything. You don't have anything in the whole deck that will out it. If you evenly them, they're just going to keep the towers. This is the only way to get around stuff that like the deck just cannot handle. So it was either this or I think the blue Charmer or Link Karibo or something. This was just clearly the better choice. So that's the extra deck and the main deck. 40 cards, 15-15. That's pretty much it. Thanks.
Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I just wanted to say that I recently made a Facebook group and it's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Elite Savage. And you guys can look us up, or you guys can just click the link down below to join. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Once you guys subscribe, hit that bell notification so you guys can be notified about all the great videos that I upload. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you.